All right, we're gonna go ahead and call to order this special meeting for the Seneca Healthcare District Board. Present, we have Ken, Sherry, Shelley, and myself. We don't have Rich online just yet, but we hope that he will be able to join us shortly. So let's go ahead and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. That brings us to item number 2, additions or modifications or deletions from the agenda. Donna has a conflict, so I was hoping if everyone is in agreement that we could move items number 9 through 11. Maybe just after number 6, while we approve on meeting minutes. Is that acceptable to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Then with that, I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
I move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Kim?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Shelley? I will vote aye. And that moves us on to item number 4, public comment. We received nothing in advance of the meeting. Anything anyone wants to share here? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to item number 5, approval of the January 8th, 2026 for December of 25 regular board meeting minutes. Board members have a chance to review. Any comments, motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Shelley?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
I will vote aye. That moves us to item number 6, approval of the January 29th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes. Any questions, comments, motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Second?
Aye.
And thank you. All in favor, Ken?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Okay, so that brings us now then to item number 9. Donna, we have, make the right page. New critical access hospital and skilled nursing facility, contingency usage request 013, informing the discussion of possible action. Go ahead, Donna.
Alrighty. Okay, so we are requesting the some from construction contingency this $518,518.96. This is related to the equipment yard where the generators and propane tanks are. We through the process of getting the deferred approval for the generators, needed to make sure that we had the CM, as well as for screening purposes of the generator yard. We are looking at having CMU walls, both for support of some of the equipment as well as that screening, some additional bollards and some additional concrete work and footings, resulting in this $174,000. We wanted to make note to the board that we are also looking at the possibility of trying to get a roof over this equipment yard. And so this number does not include that. We were trying to see about getting it all packaged together for you, but the contractor has indicated that we need to get this moving forward and catch the roof up to that. So just noting to the board that this would be only for the generator, or only for the scope that's noted here and with the attached change order request, and that the roof would be coming separately. So we're asking the board for approval for amending the contractor's contract by this amount for this scope.
And I also want to note, Sean and I walked out there Friday. We were talking about this. He also mentioned that this will help dampen sound for our skilled nursing.
Yeah.
That's right there too. So, because I asked him, could we do landscaping at a lesser cost, that kind of idea. But I think that that's a really good point that he made, because I think that's an important thing for us to keep in mind too.
So this wasn't at all anticipated then?
It was discussed early on about how we went through everything, all kinds of iterations between just a fence, like a chain link. We looked at
Landscaping.
it came initially from, it was just gonna be, the aesthetic was gonna be so bad, you know, as people go into the emergency room, here's a bunch of generators and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they're right where you pass, so.
And we wanted to hide that, so we thought about different ways, and then the CMU block came up, which is a great idea. It flattens it all out, you can't see it, but secondly, there's the noise reduction going into from the generators to the skilled nursing, which is right there, or long-term care. So we did look at other things, but the CMU block was the one that actually HGA said would probably be the best suited for that.
And we talked about
It'd be cleaner.
landscaping around that, then to sort of.
Yeah.
Kind of offset that.
Yeah, just to break it up a little bit. And then what'll become later is a roof, and we talked about this just recently. We could have a non-roof, but talking to Linda would love to be able to get up underneath there and do some maintenance on that thing regardless of snow. So that will be coming as a separate change order.
And how large would the roof be?
It has to cover the 3 generators, which are 6 feet apart. 6-foot walkway,
Yeah, plus the propane tanks.
plus the propane tanks.
Mhm.
So the roof will probably, I'm guessing it's going to be a 40-foot roof.
So is there other equipment out there that would be buried in snow that make it
That's it.
difficult to access?
That's it.
That would
It's
cover
the
everything.
propane and the diesel generators that are secondary power. And then the bollards that are going in would separate the generators from the maintenance building. So, because we're gonna have trucks going in there to pull back like the MRI, we just don't want them to hit that. So that would be the bollards to keep them, to protect them. So, yeah, there serves a lot of purposes. I know it's a contingency, but I think that it's really gonna help frame out that area.
What is probably a dumb question, but
I've never done a question.
if we're approving the use of 174,000 plus contingency, how is it that both contingency funds remain the same after that approval?
So the amount at the bottom there is the 4,028,581.81 is where we stand after approval of this 174,000. Was that your question, Shay?
Yeah,
Yeah, she just.
After,
just wanted to clarify.
oh, thank you for that. Oh, yeah, so, yeah, the 4 million after the approval of the 174.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it'd be helpful for us, when we talk about the roof, about what that's really gonna look like,
Mhm.
how.
It's being
that's gonna-
designed now by HGA.
Yeah, cause I have we're building this beautiful building and I'm kind of worried about aesthetics,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe we can bring it, we have a couple renditions of that, we can bring that with the aesthetic eye, because not only snow, sound, neighbors, I mean, there's a lot going on there.
Snowfall, snow drift, so we're thinking about just a neighborhood roof that leaks all that snow off into the swell that's on the backside there, which is a drainage swell.
Yeah.
So we're not there yet, but I think that we do want it to look good. Now, I'm not a big fan, honestly, of CMU block. It looks very industrial to me. But we are hiding generators, so it's pretty industrial. Donna, I can't remember, is this just a 2 walls? Is it 2 walls?
It
Or
is just 2 walls, yeah, and so one is screening on the east side of those generators, and one is between.
No, it's
So one, yeah, and then one's between the propane tanks and the generators.
I'm
And that-
confused with 2 walls on the ends.
One's on the east.
Got,
One's on the east, and then isn't one of the walls between the road and the building, the north side?
there's none, but there's none on the north side of the yard. No, it's just bollards on the north side of the yard.
That's the whole idea behind the noise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd sure like to see a picture of this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull it up. Bear with me here.
So the question came up today in one of my tours, said, what about the generators and the noise that the neighbors might experience?
Well, yeah, sounds like that may be what we're actually creating, but not blocking from our skilled, if I'm listening to where those walls are gonna be correctly.
Yeah, it's been a while since I looked at these.
Make sure people know that the generators aren't gonna be running all the time.
I really hope not. I really hope not. That's gonna be quite an experience.
We're not planning on them running all the time.
And they're good, and while they're large, they are brand new and they do have their own installation, stuff like that. So they're not they're, I'm not saying quiet, but they're not as noisy as some of the ones we have now. They are brand new. You got it? Are you able to find it, Donna?
I have not, it's not where I thought it was on ECC, so bear with me here.
I'm sorry, I should have been prepared to bring these because to bring everybody up to speed.
Does it describe it further?
Really?
I'm sorry, I'm not finding it, under, it's not where I thought it would be. Let me see if it's in.
It'd be okay if we have take a little time to look for it, because I think it's important.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's why we're letting her look for it.
I mean, it says additional curb and additional concrete at sidewalk area.
Additional concrete is the area between the maintenance shed and these things. That's for the turnaround for the big trucks, the backup.
Yeah.
All right, oh, no. I thought I found it.
New documents that I got. And see if he's better about a meeting.
Okay, I don't have the official, approved submittal, or deferred approval, but I have a picture of it, so. Am I able to share my screen?
Sure.
Okay, so this is it in concepts, what we would be talking about for, so this is what we're talking about for the roof. What you're seeing as to where the CMU and bollards are is what is in this 174. So the CMU is in the 174 that are shown in these two walls, and the bollards are in the 174, as is additional concrete work and footings associated with the CMU walls and thickened edges that needed to be clarified. And then this is the idea for the roof.
So this view, the bigger picture is the view looking out from skilled, or the skilled building, inside the building.
Yeah, so it's not covered from the skills. So I guess if we take away that noise thing, this is not what I thought I remembered. Okay.
And that's the maintenance building on the end?
That is. Mhm.
Yeah. And the reason being is we really there's the bollards are removable and for servicing, for if they ever need to be replaced, if they, so the bollards are the solution that is allows for the maintenance of the area as well as, protection of the equipment.
And
From
the road
cars.
goes-
Straight down. Right there.
That's the road right there.
The road is right in front of it, yeah.
Okay, so they're on the other side of the road,
There.
envisioning closer to the building for some reason.
No, they're not that really that close. In fact, they're even further down. You see the generators down there by the maintenance shop. That's more kind of across from the area where they do where the trucks come in for deliveries. It's closer to the side, than it is to the long-term care.
And so the generators require a certain amount of ventilation.
Yeah, this calls for that, yeah. So it allows for the air to get in, ventilation.
And at this end, as we're looking at it on the left.
Yeah.
What is that?
Those
These
are,
are propane. So these are propane tanks and these are the generators over here on the right. So left propane, right, generators.
and you can see as we come into the hospital from the main drive going down the emergency room, that wall blocks it from being seen. This wall on this side over here blocks it aesthetically.
We have neighbors on the backside.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I
when
lost that.
securing the backside, covering it at least partially, temper the neighbor's wrath. Is it feasible?
I'm just gonna, we've thought about, the neighbor and noise. When generators are on around here, everyone's generator is on around here.
Okay, good.
And I don't wanna be tongue in cheek about that. I can tell you that when we're going down power, all of our neighbors' generators are running. So talk about noise. This is Maywood's noisy, cause they all have generators. And they kick on. So I think we almost a little bit expect it here in the mountains when the power goes down and my gosh, I mean, in my house, the neighbor's generator's right near my bedroom.
Is it just once a week it tests, like 5 minutes, like?
I don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
this one's Tuesday, this guy right here.
Okay,
And yeah, every Tuesday it kicks on and then they do service.
Okay. not early in the morning, I hope.
You should be able to schedule when it runs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can.
So this would provide ventilation, the aesthetic look coming into the emergency room on that side. Obviously, we'll be talking about the roof later to get that snow, to keep it under no snow so they can get in there and work on it. And you're right, the bollards, I do remember now, the bollards are there so that they can be removed and the units can be replaced or serviced.
Any other questions, comments? No.
Thanks for pulling that up, Don. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so again, just to be, so that we're 100% clear, this
Cool.
174 is for the CMU, the additional bollards that are shown here and concrete work. It does not include the roof. We would be coming back to the board with additional information on what this roof would look like and cost.
And this doesn't include the structure holding the roof either, correct?
It would not include the columns, correct? Yeah, it wouldn't include that either.
Don, I have one more question. In the space between the generators and the support services building over there,
Uh-huh.
right there. Did this quote include that concrete into that space that we were gonna concrete?
No,
or-
we showed that this concrete was part of the support
SBS.
services building. Yeah.
Thank you. All right,
All right, board members, any other questions?
If the generators were exposed, I don't understand how it seemed feasible. It seems like rain and snow and
so
stuff.
yeah, but they're in metal. They're capable of taking weather
Yeah.
right here. It's just the roof overs to keep the snow,
Yeah, cause,
10 feet of snow between them.
yeah, that'd be a lot of work on
Mhm.
this team to stay up
Yep.
there.
I think it's needed.
Yeah, you do.
And then I'm hoping that when we get to the landscaping component, maybe we can build in some of that
Yeah, soft.
ability
Yeah.
to quiet it, at least during the summertime, during the winter when there's no leaves on things, I don't know what you can do, but.
Snow above the bollards.
So,
Okay,
if hearing no other questions, we'll accept a motion to approve request 013.
A motion to approve.
Thank you, do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, all in favor, Carrie,
Yes.
Ken,
I,
Shelley?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Thank you, Donna. That brings us to item number 10. the new critical access hospital, skilled nursing facility, PG&E.
Yes, so, PG&E requires this easement, in order to, have the ability to service their primary power from the pole, on, uh, Reynolds Road, up behind Reynolds Road and around to the transformer. So this, easement is, um, again, a requirement of PG&E and needing, board acknowledgement and approval.
So I had a couple of questions on it. I
Yeah.
don't know if board members, if anyone else did. So on the exhibit C, the grant of easement disclosure statement. The first bullet says you are under no obligation or threat of condemnation by PG&E to grant this easement, so why are we doing that?
I didn't hear all that. Where are we looking?
Exhibit C, the very first bullet point.
You are under no obligation or threat of condemnation by PG&E to grant this easement. Bullet point number 1 on exhibit C.
Okay. I think that, there's some, I can ask what that means. I mean, I'm thinking, that you're not, but then you're not able to have them service it either. Is what I think the answer will be to that, but I can look into it if we need to.
Just if I don't have to do it. Well, if they ask me to do
Yeah,
it.
you don't wanna give people a right
Yeah.
of ownership in your land
Mhm.
if you don't have to.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the actual, parcel map. And I don't know if I'm looking at this wrong, but I thought that we had created one parcel from,
So there are two,
That's the easement, okay.
oh, at least not, okay, thank you.
Sorry, so it's the, I had to think about this the other day, Donna, where the pole is on Reynolds, where they came down and where the transformers are. Out here on Reynolds, in front of the Reynolds house, the easement that they're asking for is that behind, that by the Reynolds house and back behind the Reynolds house, correct?
correct, yeah,
Okay.
so from that
It's
pole all the
not-
way to the transformer.
Yes,
Yeah,
right,
because the way I interpreted it was that it was going all along the entire.
Exactly.
It's right there. This
Yeah.
part here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I see adjacent to that is this lands of Huston. Do they have to provide an easement as well?
lands of Houston,
Houston?
Huston?
No, because
Or is it-
we're fully on that parcel that is, Seneca's, the Reynolds parcel.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Sherry, you have more experience with this type of thing than
Like I
the
said,
rest of
I
us.
hate giving people easements.
I know.
I guess I would ask if our attorneys have reviewed this, and only because usually they'll try to throw in the description, additional access and things like that.
Right.
So it looks straight away, you're just giving a line down to service something, but like here it says, to use lands contiguous and to set easement as may be reasonably necessary in connection with excavation, construction, reconstruction, replacement, removal, maintenance, and inspection. So you need to think, is this an area where you're giving them the right to just go in and excavate, type thing? So that would be the only thing I'd say is have all of these rights that we're giving, because it's more than one right.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Been looked at in the scheme of going into the future, what possible impact would that particular right bring back to our door?
So question I have is if we don't grant them the easement, but they have to do work on it, they just have to get owner's permission, right? And they have to be able to define the scope of whatever they need to do. In other words, if they need to get a backhoe in there,
That would be my thought.
and then they just have to come to Seneca and say, hey, we need to get a backhoe in here, we need to excavate this area. Do we have your permission, rather than the easement, just grants them full access, right?
Right.
So if we don't grant them an easement, then they literally just has to come to us and say, we have to do some servicing, here's what it's gonna look like. Do we get the green light? Well, they're gonna get the green light generally. Please don't do it during working hours or when the doctor's sleeping or
Right.
whatever, but if we grant the easement, it's carte blanche.
Well, but the
Pretty much,
thing
right.
is that they're giving us their easement
Right,
language. That doesn't mean that's what we have to agree to.
So-
So what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, we should look it over, and if, for instance, say that paragraph gives us heartburn, we ask them to remove it.
Yeah.
You know, and in other words, you're not stuck with exactly what they're handing you and saying, you know.
right,
I
right.
mean, they would love it if you would.
Yeah.
Believe me, but a lot of times, if
So-
you really look at it, it's something you want them to have to come to you at that time, you're not gonna give them a right in advance.
Right. Donna, is there anything that is holding up the project if we do not grant this easement anytime soon?
We need to, the standard approach is that we would grant the easement and PG&E would not pull power until after the easement is granted. So I would need to ask, the contractor, the timeline for, I don't have, right now at the tip of my brain where the, when they're planning on pulling power. Or needing PG&E to pull power, and so that is the standard trigger to needing this. And if we want to investigate what the alternatives to the easement are, I don't think that I think that we can have another month if we want to investigate what the implications are to the easement, having legal look at it, and asking the questions of PG&E of, if we're not required to do it, then what happens if we don't?
Okay,
I think
I would recommend to the board, can I make a recommendation, we just hold off on this and do a little bit more research? Since, once again, they're pulling power, they want to energize it by this fall. But conduit's already in, we know that, they just.
Yeah.
I think, it sounds like we have time. Would you like me to just investigate this more?
Yeah.
You want me to get it legal?
Approach of seeing first whether we truly have to do this.
Or we can grant rights on a as needed basis?
Easement language to legal until we have that question answered, because why
Okay,
muddy the waters if we
Yeah.
don't need to?
Yeah.
So it's gonna beg the question down the road somewhere, who's gonna be the point person for granting the authority?
Administration,
the chief executive.
yeah.
Yeah, and I would want to know.
Scope.
So it's that would impact, cause that would impact a lot if they had to dig up that road.
Yeah, well, if we have to provide permission, then we know, well, what the scope is or should.
And why?
And when we can help, say when you can and can't do this, rather than them being able to do whatever, whenever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
I'll work on that. I'll get that back to you guys for the next board meeting.
thank you. Thank you, Donna. I know you have to go. Is there anything you want to highlight from your general update before you have to sign off?
Let me scan through it real quick, bear with me.
Thank you.
The equipment procurement summary is attached, so there was 645,000 spent this last month against the budget, so all within the approved amount of from the board. So that's attached. We did after the time of this report, and hopefully not stealing the thunder from Chelsea and Sean, all their work on the support services building. We do have the permit on the shell of the support services building, so that's an update beyond what the report provided is. We're gonna start putting together, as you'll see that there's a section that was added called long lead items tracking. So we're gonna start putting those in there for the board's information, making sure that they're kept abreast of these long lead items. So I just started by listing what we know to be long lead items, and I'm working on getting those lead times that I can report to the board so that we can track against those. I think that's and then as far as the last item, the licensing staff and stock, we're negotiating contract with Yellow Brick and getting closer to getting that resolved so that we can get moving forward on that support from them.
Thank you, Donna. Any questions for Donna before she has to go? Thank you, Donna. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, you guys. Thanks for moving the meeting around. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Donna.
All right, so with that, that brings us back to seven, our staff reports. Sean, you're up.
Great. So I tried to give a list of federal and California legislation that's rolling out, highlighting some things that are kind of things that we should be watching, interesting. The AI clinical disclosures, AB 489, I think it's really something we need to pay attention to as we look and move into AI and the requirements for disclosure. They're tightening that up a little bit, so we just need to be paying attention to that bill. The other one is that I think is really interesting, and it seems to be getting some ground, is AB 1900 at the very bottom there, single payer healthcare. This has been introduced in California for a long period of time. They've been trying to do California social health care. So everyone in California is covered through the California blah, blah, blah. And this is a bill that's going to be moving through the assembly. I think it actually has some legs, to be honest with you, except that we're in a huge deficit, and and the numbers on this was just astronomical. Just astronomical numbers, but it's something we should pay attention to for sure. That's a very important one. Obviously, the Medi-Cal coverage changes and things in the federal side of the business and the state side of the business is the freeze, the undocumented adults. Again, there are some organizations that are getting impacted by this, and the ACA, not so much us, a little bit, Steve, not so much on the ACA or Medi-Cal, but this is creating an impact to a lot of organizations that have a high Medi-Cal or Medicare. Sorry, Medicaid, Medi-Cal. Which one is it? Medicaid. Medicaid is federal, Medi-Cal is California. And the ACA, it is starting to impact some of the more urban areas. I was on a Zoom call, and they're starting to see some differences. There was a reconciliation bill introduced into HR 1. Yay. It was by Senator Bernie Sanders. It's called the billionaire tax. And that the shortfalls in Medicaid and Medicare should be billionaire tax. They go down that's going to go down hard, but hey, at least they're looking at ways to, rather than fix the system, to keep the money flowing by going to the billionaires and saying, give us 3% of all your worth, and that'll take care of Medicaid and Medi-Cal or Medicare into the future. Once again, the over-under on that one surviving, we'll see, but it was introduced, so there it is.
So the SB 306, so this, are we talking about Medi-Cal there? Grant state regulators authority to eliminate prior auth for those services that are approved over 90% of the time?
Yeah, so this is, I think, part of the, what's the devil out there? What's the one that's looking at all the numbers? Steve, there's too many acronyms in my life, too many acronyms. OCHA. I think this is OCHA. OCHA's like taking a look at, organizations that seem to have a high billing and, things like that. So I think this is the things that are just through, they're taking another look at them for approval or not. Again, I think OCHA's going to fall in the face of Medicare. Medicare has already defined the schedule for what is automatically approved. And I think that OCHA's trying to run, and I actually think that 306 and AB 1900 are connected. I think they're connected in a big way to find out how much we can deny if we have a California coverage.
So I'm interpreting 306 wrong in that it might actually be a good thing for us, or it might not be a good thing for us.
I don't want another regulator taking a look at the things that are approved 90% of the time, for instance.
So the money, where.
Trying to streamline it sounds.
Oh, I'm sorry, eliminate. That'd be awesome if they didn't even look at it.
Yeah.
Great, 90% of the things that are approved anyway, I'm sorry.
That's why we.
So if they say automatically, if it's 90%. Slide it through.
Who's gonna decide that? What are they looking at? They're looking,
Yeah, what will apply
because
to.
it's a state
It's
regulator.
state.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Medicare, although Medicare is quite good. I mean, they have no prior auth on a lot of stuff, so.
Dollar Medi-Cal, net.
So, Medi-Cal is under incredible duress
Yeah.
in California. So you're gonna see a lot of this stuff happening. So anyway, interesting legislation, it's all being overshadowed by everything else going on in the world, but they're still in there trying to create legislation for us. It's good stuff.
If AB 1900 is. Goes through, but there's no funding for it, then it won't really take.
It won't pass appropriations. It'll get killed in appropriations.
Hopefully, okay.
But it's the spirit of what I'm talking about. If this gets through the legislature, this is an indicator that when we come into a place where we can actually figure out the numbers on this thing, California will move into a socialized medicine. And then the regulations on it is gonna be immense.
Yeah.
It's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
But I think this is the canary in the coal mine. See what kind of approval they can get. And even if it dies, but there's a big approval, unless there's a huge shift in California politics and they see it happening, the second they can budget for it, they're gonna pass it. Yep. 2026 focal points, really nothing to talk about here. You're all very much aware of it. I just wanted to kind of give you a snapshot of what's happening in 2026 focal points. There's a lot going on. We can talk about, are there any questions about those? Ongoing, starting, just beginning. Okay. HIMSS 2026, Brady and Ethan will be going this month. Big focus on AI and other automated software. Again, going back to some of that legislation around controlling some of that. Just be focused on that, but the big push is going to be kind of M&As that are going on. Because I believe that this is going to be the year of acquisitions. I think AI has gotten to the point now. I have been speaking to other facilities that have instituted AI, and it has been a huge satisfier for their physicians.
Where are they using it?
Everywhere in the valley, all of Adventist, PDH has been using it
Mainly with,
in the clinic.
in the clinic, even with the provider, the ambient,
Yeah.
picking up notes and stuff like
Are
that.
they using it for like scheduling?
That's what I wanna see
Yeah.
is, and we've asked Cerner, when we've had them about how deep is it? And so we haven't seen that yet where they can actually call you,
It's
talk
impressive.
to somebody and scheduling, but I hear it's out there. That's one of Ethan,
visual.
one of our things to see if we can see that exactly.
The demo I saw a year and a half ago was really impressive. It was a human voice, and it could understand everything you were asking it. It was answering, and it was gathering information prior to you showing up. It was asking questions like, do you have any mobility issues? Do you need, is there any transportation issues that are gonna cause a problem with you getting here? It was really, really good. So that's certainly something. I mean, and then you get in here and it registers you in like 30 seconds.
And then all that ties back into making sure our patients know that that's.
Yes.
They're talking to AI.
Yeah, well, I don't know that there's disclosure around a dialogue around scheduling, but anytime you're discussing clinical work, there is a disclosure. We have to find out.
I think we should disclose it.
And it's, the disclosures are not one time opt-in.
No,
It's a disclosure every
Every
visit.
time.
You have to tell them that I'm using a bot. I'm using an AI digital agent is what they call it, assistant. So it's every time. It's not like, yeah, you can use it. So, and then you can see the legislation is trying to define it a little bit more, but the satisfaction with this and the efficacy, is really, really good. I mean, physicians are saving hours of time.
Yeah.
And I would caution anyone to talk about AI as a way to increase the volume. Sit tight and just talk about quality of life.
That's-
And getting out of the office by 6 or whatever and not charting, I would caution us. I think that the sort of the result ultimately ends up going, wow, I can see 3 more patients and still get out by 5:30, but that's not what you want to lead with your chin.
Well, the focus is going from how medicine used to be practiced, getting back more.
Yes,
closer to that.
sitting down and having a conversation,
More like a really customer service.
Yep.
Relationships.
it capturing everything and putting it in your note with very high efficacy levels.
Well, and if you in this field long enough and switch from paper to
Yeah.
the EHR systems and went through that.
Yeah.
And it is nice to use technology to give back some of the original.
What you took.
And, physicians, surprisingly, providers are asking, you know, where if you went through any of those changes, they were pulling their teeth. I'm not gonna do it until the very end, you know?
Right.
And now it's like, hey, do you guys have one of those?
We want the tech.
I'll get one if you don't have one. And I'm like, no, we're gonna get one. So it is kind of full circle that technology
It's
is
better to
actually,
have a push from that.
Yeah.
Too.
For
sure. For sure.
yeah.
And the stuff that I've seen, the clinical digital systems that I've tried to trick by talking about anything but medicine. It didn't bite.
Do they circle back around and
Yeah,
Get you
and the
back
new
on
ones now,
Oh,
they prompt
We
physicians.
watched him try to trick it.
I tried to trick it. I was talking about everything but medicine, but it picked up just medical stuff. It actually picked up that I'm playing soccer with my kid and
Yeah, it was
I'm
like-
sore, so I have a couple of bourbons at night. It actually said, talk about alcohol use. I mean, it really did. It helped the physicians say, a couple of bourbons a night that discuss, alcohol cessation. It was funny, and the new ones, which is gonna be really cool, pick up tonation. So it actually picks up the tone.
if you're getting upset, it would.
Well, it picks that up and it actually is, and with high efficacy, you'd be really interested in this, picking up possible depression in the tonation and the way that they answer questions if they're avoiding. And rather than body language, it picks it up in the voice, like they're avoiding a question or they're not going there. It actually prompts physicians to dig a little bit deeper on those. Like, hey, ask these questions.
Interesting. Well.
Body language, did I hear you say that?
It doesn't pick up body language because it's not videoed
Yes, man.
yet. I'm just waiting.
But the change in your voice.
The tonation in
You
your
can
voice.
see where a video would be,
The next step.
yeah, next step.
Anyway, so all this is coming. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Great report from HIMSS. I can't wait for you guys to go there. Because you've never been there, it is overwhelming. The tech that you're gonna see. It's pretty shocking. Anyway, let's move it on here because I'm just rambling. Regional activities, podiatry, regional mobile MRI purchase and deployment. I gotta talk to Steve about this to make sure that we're earmarking capital money for that in 2026-27 budget, because that's when we need to, no, we won't be paying for it until late 27, right?
Late 27.
So Steve, we're gonna talk about that. So it'll probably be 27-28 budget. We are going for appropriations. We've submitted for appropriations from Kevin Kiley's office for this, for the second year. Hopefully we can get completely offset. That'd be amazing. We've also asked for appropriations for the helicopter landing spot to pay for the entire thing, and we just asked for appropriations for digital 3D mammo with tomosynthesis. So those are all going to Kevin Kiley's office, and be stacked with a million other appropriations requests he gets. But we'll see how it goes. And last but not least, Seneca won the chili cook-off. We won Judge's Choice and Best Showmanship. And I want to give big props to the foundation, Seneca Foundation, because they also placed in the People's Choice. So good showing. It was a lot of fun.
Good showing.
Really good fun. But Neil, Judy, Kristen,
Yeah.
props to you guys. We crushed it. It was fun. What's that?
So.
Anyway, that's all I have. Any questions?
Just not just food, but the day before.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we're ready for next year already,
Yeah.
right? We're already planning. Any questions for me? That's my report.
Questions for John?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, Judy, that brings us to your report. Okay, no updates, for public health, there was this outbreak in Shasta today. Thankfully, it seemed to bypass improvements, so. We're definitely still, as we're saying now, though, there's still a lot of information going around, so just wash your hands. Emergency services, so I was on a call, with, California CNOs that pre-brought this responsibility earlier this week. There was a lot of discussion, California Hospital Association had some people there to talk about this new regulation that recently passed. Actually, the rule went into effect on January 1st. It's been pushed out to June, but it has to do with, staffing ratios in licensed psychiatric facilities. And the California Nurses Association is the one who's really pushing this, and it's to increase the number of RNs that are available 24/7 in LPTs. And I don't know if you guys know this, but RNs don't get a lot of psychiatric training, and the training that we do get usually says we probably don't want to do that. That's part of our So what it's going to do is, for one thing, it will push a lot of the licensed psychiatric techs out of the picture. Because they're only gonna be able to afford if they want it or the other, and RNs are mandatory, and so. The big, huge fear is now we're going to have even less beds available than we currently do.
Brilliant.
Are
Yeah.
so minimal already. And so, that means that our, patients will be, housed in our emergency rooms.
What was behind the change to requiring more RNs?
Nay.
Is that they don't give you any evidence-based, like, subject matter to say that safety will be increased simply as a result of having a registered nurse there. So now a registered nurse is able to perform a complete assessment, whereas like a licensed vocational nurse is not. But again, it's a licensed psychiatric techs that actually receive the training to care for these. And so I'm concerned, and so, we will just be having more and more hours of behavioral health time in our emergency room. And, that was proven true just this week alone. We had a gentleman in our ER for nearly 4 days. There's also a rise in geriatric, psychiatric, care as all of us baby boomers start to lose our minds, I guess, and so it is a thing, and we don't get any help from our county currently.
Judy, you say the RN will be doing the assessment. Is this for placement in a psych facility? What's the assessment?
Once they
It's the assessment during the hospitalization.
During a hot.
In the psych
assessment,
facility.
But it's not
In
going
the
to
psych-
trigger an inpatient hospitalization.
Well, these are inpatient.
Is that still the
psychiatric-
rest of the county, or was that
What's that?
the determination whether they should be sent to Heritage Oaks? Who's gonna have that authority?
still.
Well, it's with the county right
It's
now.
still the county.
And it's
That's what
still
I'm
with the county if they actually, were helpful. And we don't find them to be very helpful.
So I get that, but I was just wondering.
But once they get to Heritage Oaks, now they're gonna have an RN ratio. Otherwise, they can't place people there. That's gonna be a problem.
Yeah,
There was this excellent bill that was actually passed 2 years ago, I think it was 1317, and that actually forced receiving psychiatric facilities, if they have a bed, they're open. If they have the capacity, they're open. There's none of this shopping around based on insurance status, right? It's treated just like any other EMTALA, any other unstabilized emergency condition. Psychiatric emergencies fall into that category now. They used to be treated much different than say a STEMI or a stroke or what have you. So that was a great thing that happened in the psychiatric world 2 years ago. This almost undoes that because now it reduces the capacity because if they don't have that RN, they don't have that bed. Period. That's how they define capacity. So it's very troubling. They did push it back to June. The rules were published on January 1st. No one even knew about it. It was supposed to go into effect on January 31st. So now they've pushed it down to June. I don't know if we get pushed beyond, because as we know, finding RNs is not an easy task. I think we're something like 33,000 RNs in the hole currently. They cannot pump them out quickly enough.
Well, I was gonna say, that's gonna be a problem for that as well, because now our shortage of RNs across the board is across the board.
Where's CHA with this?
They're very
It's
much they're very much opposed to this.
Okay.
And especially because this was a nurse that was pushing this, and also that no one really knew about this rule, and then it was implemented. And so there was no time to really, staff up or what have you, because they were really, really proud of the 1317.
Yeah.
Because now we can just like, no, you have
Never
no
bed.
wallet biopsies, you got a bed,
Right.
you got a patient, let's go.
Right.
And so.
If you did it, I mean, that's a historic problem in as much as it goes beyond just availability of a bed.
Yes,
Because just the discussion about medical necessity to send them more acuity, sometimes the facility's gonna say, oh, no.
Yeah.
it's already.
They have, they've been doing that.
And it's going to get worse and worse, and perhaps, maybe, in thinking about it, that's where the CNA feels that the registered nurse is a better asset to have, because so many people, even younger psychiatric, have many comorbidities, often drug related or what have you, and now we're getting into the geriatric population that come with a lot of comorbidities as well. So if I think about it that way, I can justify a registered nurse. But there's no additional funding for this, and a registered nurse is probably triple the price of an LPT. So,
Without the site training.
correct, without the site training.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought, maybe I'm ancient history here, but, I thought the protocol used to be an EMTALA obligation, where it had to be a physician to physician discussion to transfer the patient to an inpatient facility. And then the new thing that you're talking about will be nurse to nurse.
What happens currently is we have telepsychiatry in our emergency room, so they're typically brought to us, not always, but typically brought to us by law enforcement. And law enforcement has placed them on 5150 for whatever, pager itself, pager others. And then we get the telepsychiatrist on, we know we always have to do the medical clearance 100% of the time, all the labs, all the things. And so we do that, and so the ER physician is involved in that, and then the telepsychiatrist is the one who determines whether the 5150 is going to get overlifted. And then if it's safe home, then we make arrangements for that.
How often are the county sheriffs bringing people under an actual hold, or are they just cajoling them to come to the hospital with them without putting them actually on a 5150 hold?
It varies often, from what I understand, sometimes they'll give them the choice. You can go to the ER for a mental health clearance, or you can go to jail. So, depending on the situation. But it's very concerning, because the guy, our holding the bag, and again, we are no better trained to care for patients. We can medicate them. The beauty of pharmaceuticals, isn't always just the answer, right?
A little rainbow though is we'll have more capability to handle that. once
We will.
are in our facility.
We will, and so in my report, I, mentioned that the nurses have identified a better, placement for holding patients, because our rooms are dangerous.
Yeah.
And, our new behavioral health room won't be dangerous, but our current rooms, the amount of time spent just cleaning out the number of things that a person can really hurt themselves with is tremendous, so. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's see, the transition steering committees are going really, really well. We had 4 departments this month, and I think that all the department managers are really, you can see the light bulbs coming on, and they're really thinking strategically now. Yeah, I'm really, really proud of even how far we've come just in the last 4 weeks of the way that they're thinking about things and planning for things, including, you know, staffing and all of that. It's great. And so we will move on to, an additional 4 or 5 departments beginning next week and the following week. And, so that's all really good. Awesome. And then as far as workforce, we do our CNAs coming up on graduation, just a few weeks. Brady and I talked about today that maybe we need to do something really similar with CMAs, or certified medical assistants, because we seem to have a pretty good turnover. But what we've been doing is like, we get someone who comes in as a clerk, and then they go, oh, I would like to be a medical assistant, and then we kind of bring them up instead of advertising the way that we do for our CNA program. So that's something we'll be exploring with Michiana. We did have a last time was announced his retirement for June, so that's gonna be a very tricky one. They can be very, very difficult to recruit. Our nurse educator has decided to step down. So, and then we also had our weekend house supervisor announce her retirement for May. So we have a lot of recruiting to do. And, so there's a lot of job security in Shannon. Regulatory activity, we are gonna have our polar labs meeting next week. They actually told us what dates they will be here this week, so it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday. They will be here all day, and they will be housed in the education building for that. The auxiliary reconvenes next week, and so they will be going through the wish list and determining which items they will award us this year.
Seems like you got a good list going.
Oh my gosh, it's towards the end, it's like, almost, and I did mention it, that of all these departments, I failed to mention that IT also has submitted something, so it was across the board, really good representation. And one thing that Chelsea and I were talking about during some of our steering committees, is things were coming up a little bit here, a little bit there, that wasn't identified, but would be really nice, is we might create a registry for the new hospital. So for people that want to donate items, but maybe they can't afford, you know, a big chunk, they can't afford to name a room, but maybe they want to contribute some, like we still need to equip our kitchen in the activities, which is good for all of us. You know, maybe we would put that up as here's another way that you can donate, and we would have all of the things selected, so it'd be kind of similar to the activity analysis. But something for everyone.
And then you recognize them.
Yeah, they would still be on the donor wall and all.
I love that. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, so we'll keep your eye on that. And that's about it.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Judy?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Brady, you're up.
Okay, thank you. And so, here's our standard meeting. So in the clinic, place, and I'll jump off where Judy talked about the NA training program. We did get, so last year, we got quite a few good candidates for the per diem, registration positions, which then they moved on. We try to keep them so that they're there for the summertime, and then they start, you know, growing within the organization. So this year was a little bit different, a little later. We did finally get some, and so you'll see different faces up there as we go, and the training is going well. So that's something that's slightly different this year. As I always talk about the winter months and the summer months, winter didn't slow down as much as last year. And so I'm sure, you know, the numbers, February, we did see a normal February, so it is that. One of the things in Linda's section that we did have a slight impact to operations. We had one of our analyzers go down a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and so we have a process in place to do that when that happens, and then it came up got fixed. Monday when the technician could get up here, so that's one I don't follow up.
So Brady, were there, the employee injuries, there are 2 injuries to report, but it sounds like she just listed 1.
From the other one.
You're the other one, is that what you said?
Yeah, we did more report.
Oh, you are.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, it was icy out there. I'm telling you right now.
okay.
Okay. So we're purposely.
I heard, yeah.
Could he get out?
If I'm not thinking right, it's because I hit the.
That injury.
Now that answers a lot of it. So, and again, when it comes to Ethan's report, starting in March, he'll have his own standing report. So this section will be taken out of this report.
Wait, sorry, going back to the telephone problem, I've been noticing myself that Frontier's been having problems. Have they given us any sort of update?
I can speak to that a little bit, yeah.
Okay, sure.
The short answer is no. The long answer is that we know they're doing maintenance, they're sending out contractors to do all sorts of work, they're pulling out copper lines. They're doing all sorts of things and waving their hand in the air when we tell them that something's not working, so I can, whenever you're ready, I can give my report, that is included in it.
Sorry about that. I mean, but I just saw it in Brady report. I'm like,
Yeah,
this has
good.
been driving me nuts. I mean, I tried using my phone at home and I have a dial tone. I call number and it says all circuits are busy
Yeah.
every single time. And it's like,
Terrible.
and I've had people tell me that they've tried calling us and haven't been able to get through, but it's not us, it's Frontier, it sounds like. So, okay, sorry, go ahead, keep going.
And when it comes to the radiology report, looking at this for the 5th time, the numbers are, when it comes to 2025 and then the studies, I think are my years.
The
or-
years are-
Yeah, the
Yeah.
years are wrong.
I don't know.
I'm like, wait a minute, so I'll, for the end of this month, we'll have that adjusted.
Thank you.
But everything in radiology is going as planned and we have growth and all of that. When it comes to the referral section, so I use this referral with Shanna and Kristen, and we talk about what specialties we need and recruitment and all of that. And really the top 4 were always about 12%, you know, and so we are seeing some shifts in the referrals in this. So this will align with what we're recruiting and the specialties, and it helps kind of give a guidepost of what we need up here and what we, you know, should refer out, you know, so it kind of helps when I look at that. So there is a change in there that I've noticed.
As a general question, when it comes to general surgery, I would wonder if we have enough business to have another general surgeon in addition to Jensen.
I don't think so
Yeah.
yet. He's, I mean.
So what we're referring out is stuff we really can't do here.
Yeah,
That's my
he's
question.
pretty good about now, the 14%, I would
Yes,
say,
fix that.
yeah, that's one on the list because it is, not general surgery.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the partnership membership, we have the rep coming tomorrow and we're talking about that. We are getting still a lot of shifts from outside our area and they're flowing to us. So there is a lot of negative, you know, information in surrounding areas, which is helping drive population towards us. So that's a trend that we track. Clinic volumes as we get, this report has January, so January was, you know, a solid month, and compared to last year, it was pretty normal. The year over year from January's time we are ahead. So it looks like we're hitting our budget number or slightly over. February goes in line, which is not in here yet, but it goes in line with a kind of a typical February. And then after that, it's, you know, uphill from there. So, but now we're getting familiar with the seasonality of things. So, one other thing probably that we're still working on. We still have all the different projects, our automatic doors. We're fine tuning them and I think we got them fine tuned, but then the patients, we need to give them time, because if you just sit and watch, yeah, I mean, we're still seeing where they hit the button, they don't hit the button, their husband hits the button, and so.
Were they working on it today?
Yeah, I think the mechanics of it was working. I mean,
It didn't an hour ago.
yeah, well,
Last time I checked.
yeah, so we're getting more familiar with it. So it is a work in progress, but we are not only the mechanics of it, but it's how patients are using it. So, but I think it's still good when it's working how it's supposed to do, and when the patients use it how it's supposed to. It actually opens both doors, because we do have a lot of people in wheelchairs and stuff like that, so. So work in progress. So then won't say anything recruitment, that's in Shannon's wheelhouse now, and then I will remove this out of this meeting, so when it comes to the March meeting, Shannon will have all of that. And then, so I'll pass it to Ethan.
And before I begin, just let you know, Rich,
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Thanks, Rich.
all right, so I will keep it fairly brief. With your permission, I do have some items to go over during closed session, during the compliance report that have to do with cybersecurity and some updates there. But as far as for open session, starting our projects, iPads, I know they're on top of everyone's mind. Due to some of the hardware limitations that we are seeing across the country, the initial order was denied. And now we are reordering a different model to make sure that we actually get them here. Working with Stephen Stoops on that, we should expect those to be set up fairly soon. In the meantime, we're working with a few different mobile device managers to figure out what the best fit for our use cases. We are currently within IT under contract review. Hopefully in coming years, we will have the contract collaborator that we are looking into to assist with that. But especially before we move into the new hospital, we're finding all sorts of things that were signed up for, left aside, and are better alternatives now. For HEMS, I did just want to speak to the AI portion of it real quick. We all know that there's a big AI bubble right now. There's gonna be a lot of acquisitions, a lot of shifts. Everyone's very excited. There's a lot of money going into it. We need to see before we implement really hear how that money will move and make sure we're not left with a product that would be unsupported. With that in mind, I have been very impressed with the AI portion of healthcare as a whole. Typically, legislature for technology is about 2 to 5 years behind. We only see about 12 months at this point. There's both federal and state legislature coming out very rapidly. That's a good sign.
Ethan, before you move on from that one,
Yes.
have we looked at Cerner's AI tool?
Yes, we are keeping an eye on it, and part of what we will be looking at is HIMSS is who is reading with Cerner, who's sitting next to them, who's shaking hands with them if they are coming out with their portion, if they're saying that this AI is triggered by X company, or if they're acquiring other companies. They'll tell us a lot about their future goals as well, what they would do.
Just a side note, Becker's just came out with an article that Oracle has lost their top 4 AI executives. They left the company. That was just released. So really gotta watch what's going on with Cerner, or they may be upgrading, but just keep an eye.
I'm really keeping an eye on Oracle as a whole, just because of some whisperings as to how they will actually deal with Cerner moving forward. They're pushing a lot on their new Cerner EHR. There's a lot of confusion and possibilities of possibly dropping or shifting or making new mandates for Cerner as it stands right now. So it's definitely something we need to keep an eye on. Hopefully HIMSS will give us a little bit more insight into future goals.
Yeah, the acquisition of Oracle, they were, we went with the Epics and the all-in-one, and now they're going back to Oracle's, maybe taking a look at going back to best of breed. So in order to create the interfaces that are simpler is being able to use best of breed with how, without having to control every single aspect of it. It seems kind of shifting, it ebbs and flows, right? It goes best of breed, and it goes to,
I think it has been.
Single-
Years.
but I think that would, Oracle, I think that would actually go in line with what Oracle's philosophy has always been, right?
Yeah.
Sort of using what's the best in the market and being able to integrate it, so we'll see what happens.
Keep an eye on how the price tag shifts with that.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about making money, baby. All about making money.
Besides that, our policies and procedures within IT are being updated this year, with a few centering around AI and stuff like that. Following, a lot of that will be finalized after HIMSS as we get more footwork into Seneca's goal and Seneca's path forward. Outages and notable occurrences, we already spoke a little bit about Frontier. Frontier's been having a very hard time over the last month and a half for our entire surrounding area. We've seen this primarily in facts. We see a large impact to copper lines, POTS lines. It is our internal theory that they are pushing to pull those out there and pushing to replace those entirely with fiber. Organizations like us cannot do away with them at this time. And so we are seeing degradation as their focus shifts away from them. Our potential trying to encourage folks to move away. Obviously, fax isn't going away within healthcare anytime soon, and so we will deal with it, work as best we can with their support. They actually did send some third-party contractors out last week to take away our copper lines. They did not know what they were doing, and we sent them away because we're not told ahead of time, and we would not prove that anyway. So we have our managers on both Frontier and Verizon side investigating why that happened.
How did you guys figure out what they were doing?
Contractors came up and started chatting with Linda's team saying, we're here to pull out the copper and replace it with fiber. Where do you want us?
What a great thing. No, you don't even have that badge, just go pull copper wire. Right, I'm thinking, are they real technical?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
You don't need that copper wire anymore?
I would have liked to see Linda's face when you told her that.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting.
Hey, so question on that, Ethan, we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but you're right, fax machines it's the only thing keeping fax machines alive is healthcare. Would it change, would our world change if we went to a fax server? Or would we still into like a printers and?
That has been tossed around internally a lot over the last few years.
Yeah.
And the biggest limiting factor is the cost associated.
Yeah.
Right now, we have POTS lines and fax lines put in. They are working. The costs are fairly minimal. We're paying TPX what we are for.
What about over there?
Over there, that's where the big question mark comes. It is still a very large price tag to implement a fax solution that's not fax. There's also quality degradation.
Right.
As far as fax servers, especially when you start integrating with EHRs, there's degradation in that. And we already have a poor enough time with our fax lines. And so there's some give and take, but it's definitely on the table that we're considering.
What
Alright.
expense are we talking about for a fax server solution?
Implementation can range from 50,000 plus. It's fairly significant for a single project in the large run, especially if Frontier moves forward and gives a hard deadline of when POTS will no longer be supported, we'll be forced to.
That's gonna be the issue, whether they keep copper alive or not.
Is that all the work along 36? Yeah. Fiber optic.
Other notable outages, no statement has gone out. It was either scheduled maintenance or another short outage. Cloudflare had its issues, which impacts both Cerner and our vendors. It seems to be resolved now, but the week of the 23rd, was in and out with that, which also impacted Frontier, which is probably why we saw all the calls dropped and the actual, telephone network impacted. So there's been a large uptick in phishing. I know you hear me say this every month, but every month it gets a little bit worse. We were seeing more and more emails coming out from
USA.org.
So just expect as board members, as executives, people will pretend to be you. If people email you saying, is this you? Please pay attention to the verbiage used. Please pay attention to the email addresses used so that then you can turn around to the vendor and say, no, it was not me because of this. We have not had any breaches into our actual network, into our actual emails, but this is usually the first step. And so stay vigilant, and we're trying to take care of it internally as well. Make sure that our internal teams don't open the door for anyone, because as we will get to into compliancy, that is that is our limiting factor, is always people.
Internally, are we catching most of those before they land in people's inboxes?
Yes, vast majority are, we still get the onesie twosies, and then we get our training that goes out, which I'm happy to report that that's going very well. And that's it for me until closed session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for Ethan? Thank you.
Job, Ethan.
All right, do we have anything additional we don't for yours, do we? For your report?
What's that?
We don't have any additional for your report, right? Okay. Okay, so that brings us to Shannon. Okay.
So tomorrow we will be attending the Feather River Job Fair. So we'll be represented there. We are still working on our negotiations and renewing our agreement. I meet with them on Tuesday, so hopefully we can start to get some momentum again. Our high school students will be starting their rotations in mid-March, so that's always fun for all the departments.
How many?
There's gonna be 13. So we added a whole
It's like
extra.
full senior class.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we'll, hopefully the managers can maintain the larger group numbers, but now remind me, do they go together to the different departments or do we split them up? I have 4 groups and so each they'll come at 1:30 and then take them to the. Got it. Nurse practitioner, we have one onboarding right now. We expect her to start in mid-March. So everything's going smooth and, we welcome her to come soon. We do have a nurse practitioner student that would like, we have accepted her to do her clinical rotations this summer. She does have ties to the area and has expressed, that she would like to work here after she finishes. So that's, exciting news for us.
Oh, you're on?
Yeah.
So diving into physician recruitment, we have Dr. Goodall. He's going to be doing some onboarding training days at the end of March. He'll be training in the ER as well as the walk-in. And then for April, we're gonna have a little break. He's gonna be moving his family to Reading, and then he'll be starting on a permanent basis starting in May. We also had an ER and walk-in physician come on site for a visit. We thought the interview went well and continue conversations with him. Next, there is another physician that is interested in our walk-in clinic. I wouldn't say me, Brady's been in discussions with her. So there's some light there that might be giving a replacement for Dr. Ware. We are negotiating a contract with GYN and Women's Health. So that is an exciting new service. This will be a shared partnership with the other hospitals, kind of like the podiatrists that we have. Historically, a Chico-based cardiologist used to interpret our EKGs and Holter monitor studies. No longer able to do that for us, but we have now contracted with Dr. Wolk from North State Cardiology to provide these services for us, so no interruption in service. And we are also in discussions with them about doing a satellite clinic in the future.
Whoa.
Would he do stress test?
No, I can try to tell you what size anything.
This is mostly Brady, so I will take all the credit.
I talked to Dr. Wolf a couple of years ago and asked him, what would it take to get you up to Chester? And he looked at me and said, $1 million. Walked away, so this didn't happen.
I've worked with him for years, so I know how to work.
Rough sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Would he do stress test?
He can do, like right now, and I'd like to thank him officially because, our prior position, went out pretty quickly. And, he really stepped up and got our studies, our back studies and all of that stuff. And so really, helped out. And then going forward, he's asked for some things, and those are the discussions. And his group has Dr. Prince, has some great nurse practitioners that are cardio. I mean, it's one of the there were two big groups in Chico and it's one of them. And so, which they're all in low now, but, so yeah, so that's, more to come on that, but that's a good toe in the water for the referral pattern that we talked about earlier.
When we spitball, when we spitball programmatic development for the new facility, we talk about pacemaker insertion, pacemaker interrogations, those kinds of things that you can do in our new facility. You can do them now, but we would love to see that kind of ability up here. Using our OR or procedure room for insertion pacemakers. I mean, I've done hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Not that hard.
Yeah, there's echoes, that's the first thing he asks, hey, do you have an echo machine up there? So there's a lot of things now. He also comes up here. So that's why I sent a band shell and stuff like that, so.
So our fancy new ultrasound machine doesn't have capability to do echoes?
It does.
Does, we'd have to, purchase the additional.
Transducers.
Transducers and, so there's a little,
It's not the tech, it's not the technology, it's not the machine, it's the tech.
Right,
yeah,
And they're so hard to find.
yeah.
so there's a couple options.
Well, unless he has a tech he can bring with him.
Yeah.
Those types of things. We talked about Monica going to sending her off to,
Yeah.
she'd stay if
there's
she'd
a-
lock her into getting her echo cert.
Yeah, and there's a travel, so there's
There's some things.
a lot of things, and when we talk about ultrasound in the future, which, as we expand such services and when we get over there, hopefully, be more expanded. There's different types of texts we could get to, so there's all these discussions are tied into the recruitment strategy.
Funny.
That'd be great, so.
It's exciting.
So, I think we had for February, we had 3 additions. We had a medical assistant start with us, housekeeper, and then, the scheduler in front of the clinic. We have 4 conditional offers that are in the onboarding process, 5 people transferring around to different positions or statuses, and then 3 positions left us, and luckily 2 of those were pretty out. Not too much to have. But any questions?
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you.
Any questions for Sharon?
You're busy.
You see what it's.
And it's always available in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read through this every time and our core value champions are more for this. Awesome. Oh, I did want to ask a question to the staff, maybe it's a question for Judy. For our BLS, ACLS, PALS, et cetera, do we allow people outside the organization to participate in those trainings? Okay, I was just curious because
are for contract providers.
just the ones that are contractors or employees with us. Okay. thank
Those
you.
BLSC. Those are BLSC, not just straight BLS.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are, courses available, I believe the fire chief at West Shores is having CPR classes.
Is he funding them?
Peninsula,
I think he's gonna do that.
Peninsula is offering CPR classes, there are, layperson CPR classes.
Well, the question was brought to me by, someone who actually works in a dental office, they're a dental assistant, and so they have to have
Yeah.
the same kind of thing as
Yep.
we do, so that's why I was curious.
There
Yes.
are.
So we've assisted at least the local dentist office with the contacts here locally where they can call and get their own courses set up.
Good to know, I was just wondering whether that was possible or not, so, thank you.
Who's providing the classes? Are we one of our nurses certified?
Different, our next class will actually be our first one, the first fire, coming here to do the combination of BLS, ACLS, and policy needed. And, but we also work with a company out of Chico, who's arranged for, excellence in education, who I've known that nurse for 30 years, and they do a really good job. They were just here last week. About 8 plus that, pretty close, yes. So we have a couple options. So that we can keep them growing pretty regularly. It's, even though there's some expense to it, we are trying to keep people from not traveling outside of your. So,
Right.
And then you have to pay for travel and
correct.
all that, yeah.
So that brings us to Chelsea's report, and she let me know that she's busy writing a grant right now, so, she won't be joining us. But I don't know if anyone had any questions, Sean, if you wanted to highlight.
Just a couple things. So on the golf tournament, that's going really well. We're starting to get our sponsors to roll in. The whole hecklers that we had last year, we're not gonna hire whole hecklers this year. Tim O'Brien said that he might help us with that. He's pulled out. He wants to play in the golf tournament, so I'm gonna be the whole heckler this year.
You'll do a good job.
And I'm brutal. Thanks.
The whole heckler.
We sit, so it's basically you sit there with a microphone on a hole, usually a difficult one. And you just give people so much grief. And the idea is they can shut you up by putting money in your bucket,
Oh.
or they can pay for you to be just brutal on somebody else, which they did last year to me. There's like $1,000 put forward, and in order to shut them up, I had to pay double that.
Oh, my God.
So I was a little short of 2,000, so they heckled me and they were brutal. And it was so much fun. It was actually, everyone loved it. It's such a fun thing. So we are gonna throw an incredible golf tournament this year again. I'm gonna be the whole heckler.
Oh, man. That sounds stressful. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm gonna go ham. It's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna break it. I want $10,000 in donations in that bucket this year. Anyway, so that's going good. Nothing else. I know that Steve has been working a lot with Chelsea on reconciliation of numbers. It's going good. Going good. That's it.
Thank you. All right, so Steve, I think that finally brings us to you for approval and acceptance for January 2026 financial report.
There it is. So a couple things. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here. One is January is fairly consistent with December. And we're also seeing the same relationships into February. Of course, it's 28 days. And hopefully you all have had a chance to look through the numbers. If you have any questions or concerns about what's being put up here, what you're seeing, please ask or bring it up or whatever. But again, we have the consistent environment that we've been existing in. And again, I said that we see it into February where our outpatient revenue is performing well to budget. And our inpatient areas, with the exception of long-term care, are lagging behind as far as budget. So this led to a slight negative variance in total or net patient revenue and total operating revenue. We're doing fairly well in expenses. There are a couple of items that hit us that I'll point out for the month of January. Contract labor, Judy mentioned that we're wrapping up the CNA program, which is great because that's where right now we have staffing shortages that require us to seek registry staff and CNAs, almost entirely CNAs, a couple of LVNs within the long-term care unit. And obviously we pay them a little more than employees. On the professional fees, medical, what we're starting to see there is the inclusion. Dr. Martinez starting with us, and we're seeing the impact of him both on the revenue and on the expense side. Pro fees, the big thing in there was January was when we closed the line of credit, which is great because this time we got a 2.5-year line of credit. So this will carry us into the new facility and a little bit beyond March of 2028. So it'd be nice to have a line of credit in place as we do that. all the other expenses are, I didn't say what that was, I just said it was at the line of credit, it was the legal fees, the attorneys. That we paid, which is nice, again, that we got 2.5 years, because we had to pay them. We had to kind of pay them twice to do it, but Western Alliance Bank would only give us the short-term line of credit last time, and we had to redo it. Val kind of complained about, saying, well, it's just the same document, and it really isn't. It's amazing how much work they actually produce because of us being a public entity and the things that need to be generated, so don't have to worry about it for 2.5 years, so that's good news.
It's funny, is that's the number one email that I keep getting after that. People asking me if we need a line of credit. There's like 3 or 4 companies that keep sending me emails about it.
Really?
Yeah. Should I forward them to you? You're giving me that look.
Is there interest?
So far, I've just.
Yeah.
So
No,
far.
I'm just semi-curious, because I get solicitations all the time about equipment financing
Okay. I'll
and
send
stuff
it to
like
you.
that. And I'm just
I'm
curious.
getting them as well.
All right.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't often see, other than one of the texts I get at 2 a.m. that they have a line of credit for me.
Yeah, I get it too, and I took one out on behalf of Rich Rydell. It's only 12% interest, don't worry about it, Rich, be fine.
But yeah, I've seen a limited amount of line of credit, so I'm just curious who's throwing those out there. So slight negative variance in revenue, slight negative variance in expenses. Let's call it slight, how about, and variance on income from operations, 121,000, that's, we don't like to see that, but it's not what I would call significant. We continue to make up on the interest income from the funds that are held in our project fund. And January was when we receive our quarterly interest from Lake. That's why there's a little higher budgeted amount than the others. And where that all took us was to a loss of $514,847 versus the budgeted loss of $430,406, negative variance $84,441. Probably any questions on January before I start?
I have one real quick. So are we thinking that, I know we just started the swing program,
Uh-huh.
but are we thinking that our budget was realistic?
Well, I think we may have mentioned this previously. When we did the budget, we anticipated that the physical therapist was gonna come in the fall.
Right.
And with a different physical therapist than we got.
Right.
So, by this time now, Shelley, we would have been a couple months into having the physical therapist there, so. It's only one ADC, so 1 patient per day.
Okay.
So I don't think that's unrealistic.
Okay.
Based upon bed availability and all of the things. It's gonna be something, I think it's gonna be a big discussion when we go into the budget for next year. Because we need to rely on that, and it's really gonna drive things. That's kind of my point, is that we push out. I've done the cash projections and all that. And we do show some improvement in our operations as we go into summer, but it's mainly, again, being driven off of outpatient, so. I talked to Brady about this a lot, and I say, man, that swing and the inpatient, I don't wanna beat up on swing, because the inpatient, is the utilization is quite low as well. Although there are other, as Judy always likes to tell me, that there are other things that the acute nurses are doing, whether it be observation or infusions or whatever it might be. So it's not like, I don't want to portray it as that they are not doing anything, but the actual utilization of the inpatient unit is quite low. And so as we look to that, that's gonna be the thing that goes straight to our bottom line. Because we already have the labor, which is the biggest cost of the unit, it's nurses. And when we have an inpatient, we have some disposable supplies, but we also have chargeable supplies. We have pharmaceuticals, other ancillary services that the inpatients receive that we get paid for. So you know, the cost to us to do all that is, the incremental, I should say, cost is quite low. So, it's really a push. These guys get tired of hearing it, so, but it's what's gonna make the difference for us. It really is. And as we look to, when we get to the cash projection, it's what's going to allow us to make capital investments or make investments in other programmatic services or whatever, without concerning ourselves that, hey, okay, we built up our cash reserves and now we're gonna take them away. You know, even though they may be for a good, legitimate, defensible thing, we really want those cash reserves, or I do. Those
Looking
cash.
to for our USDA covenant as well.
Uh-huh. Right now, we're gonna be covenant free and until we go into the permanent financing, so 27. And I don't know when our first measurement period is, but Western Alliance will hold us any more financial covenants for the remainder of the interim financing period, which they take it out in June of 27.
So back to the swing program, so how many patients have we had so far? One.
We're getting submittals, but Judy, you wanna talk about the submittals we're getting?
Getting referrals, so the team meets daily, anytime we have referrals to go over them. These are, many of them are social nightmares with no way to provide a safe discharge. Because they're normally homeless or some other circumstances that we would not be able to send them out anywhere.
Right.
Once, so we're really, our objective is to, repair all of our relationships with our referring centers. So that they know, because for so long they had to say, we don't have physical therapy. And so now we're like having more like weekly conversations. Hey, remember, we have physical therapy now.
Right.
Because for so long, you know, we didn't, and so they were just sending us other types, you know. So I think that's our best approach at this point, is to just have at least weekly conversations with them. And say, hey, remember us. over here.
But you're right, that
I'm
safe
per-
discharge plan is critical.
Personally getting schooled on just the giant dumping machine that everybody's trying to
Yeah.
do. How can I get rid of this person and
Yeah.
dump it on someone else? So I appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah.
And trying to just be conscientious of the fact of whether or not we can do a safe discharge. Can we actually provide good care?
We know that we've turned it for sometimes.
For sure.
Hundreds of days, because we could not provide a safe
Right.
discharge for patients.
And to avoid that.
Sometimes you're sold a bill of goods and it's really unfortunate that, you know, our goal is to rehab these people and get them home.
Yeah.
So,
I imagine eviction, even harder up here if you have to go through eviction.
oh.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it had some uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then Judy, do you wanna talk about how the team is looking at what's being sent out?
Yeah, so, now Lori, our physical therapist, she has access to, our FirstNet program, which is our emergency room aspect of, Cerner. And so we all go in there daily to see what went out in the last 24 hours. To make sure that if it looks like something that might require, some post-acute help, then we can be in contact with them right away to let them know. One of the problems we experience up here is that for our ischemic stroke and trauma, many times are intercepted before they ever get to Seneca. We don't know about them because, you know, they do an auto launch for a helicopter, they get them out to the field, and then they go somewhere and we're never even aware that has happened. So that would be our next way of, kind of going in. We have the ability to actually go in to the PCR or patient care record of our ambulance service. So we can start doing that as well to see what they actually have launched out of our area. So that's what we're working on right now.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of research.
Darcy?
Yeah.
Is this providing service in this bill yet?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah, she and Sue are still, going down and daily and, anytime we get any patient, she's over there. She's going to be assisting us with employee health as well, because Steve Brown used to do our, onboarding for, of the employees who require a physical exam, or physical, whatever you call it. So that they can lift. Yeah. And stuff like that. And he can't keep up with that, so she's gonna take over that for employee health. She's just awesome. She's just chomping at the bit to do whatever. She would love to do some outpatient services, and we wanna help her do that. But it just takes a little bit to get there.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Darcy?
Okay, hey, Ethan, that's all I got. I'll cover a couple of balance sheet things when we look at the cash flow. So if there are any questions about January, I'll take them. Otherwise,
Accept a motion to accept the January 2026 financial report.
When we accept the report.
Thank you, that is second. Thank you. All in favor, Rich?
Hold on. Aye.
And thank you, Shelley. Sherry?
Aye.
Ken?
Right.
And I'll vote aye. All right, so that brings us to our cash flow report.
that's perfect. Okay, the things I'm gonna cover in the cash flow is in the month of January. Gosh. Probably January. We settled those long-term accounts, so we had an influx of over, a little over $1 million on both December and prior months, long-term care claims. We received a rate range payment from Kaiser. I just met with the district hospital leadership forum folks that helped us get the Kaiser rate range payment for last year. And we're got our fingers crossed because last year DHCS was very flexible with rate range. Rate range is a Medi-Cal managed care supplemental payment program. And so typically it's tied to what they call uncompensated costs. So it's the difference between what you're paid for your Medi-Cal managed care services versus what it costs you. Cost is allocated costs or cost or charges, whichever is larger. How about that? And so last year they were looking at, it was calendar year 24. It was the first year that we went with partnership, that we went with from Anthem to California Health and Wellness. And so there was so much going on there. DHCS said, you know what, just take all of your Medi-Cal managed care and put it into a report to show your uncompensated costs. And so we were able to claim a pretty high cost in relation to looking at what we had under Anthem and California Health and Wellness versus even what we would have typically in a year under partnership. And so that allowed us to do an IGT for a large supplemental payment. Well, this year we've got partnership only, and it's the number's going to be a little smaller. Also, what we're seeing, we always talk about the one big, beautiful triple EHR one, where they may be doing things with supplemental programs. What we're also seeing is the slow creep down on the federal matching associated with these programs. It peaked with COVID and it's slowly, some of the areas have started to come down. So we're battling two things, maybe not as much cost uncompensated we can claim, and maybe the matching number is going to be a little smaller. The other piece is they let Kaiser go out and distribute supplemental payments without having to submit an actual cost. Our volume with Kaiser is quite low, but they were graciously willing to send out, payments to people. And so we're working, or I'm not, the DHLF people are working with us to see if we can get that same arrangement to where we can get a similar thing where we don't have to file an actual cost, but they got to make sure that it doesn't trample over any kind of regulations or anything like that. So there's the moral of the story or short part of the story is that we could be looking at smaller dollars in this area next year, but,
Do we expect a 6,020,000 in February?
we received that.
We did get it.
We did. We got it less about 30,000, so.
Okay, okay.
Actually, the 6,020,000 is the real number. I think I had previously had in there,
Oh,
the higher with the 30,000, and when we go back to the income statement. All of our rate range was $7.2 million. That was an accrual, if you will, in anticipation of what we're gonna receive, and so we're gonna have a small adjustment in February for about $30,000, so. But I guess the big part of the story is that we get into February, we had a little bit of jump in our cash. We went from 27 days cash on hand in December to just over 34. The big takeaway there is that our cash on hand in December never got down, and in turn, January as well, never got down to where we needed to draw on the line of credit. And it's like cash is your biggest proof of your operations. If you have money, probably you're paying your bills, that's the improvement. And so that was a direct improvement over December of 24. So from the previous fiscal year. So now we hit 34 days in January, then the 6 million since this was distributed to you all, we received our first installment from the county for property taxes. It's the $450,000 up there. It actually came in at 436,000, so pretty close. We did IGT for the Quality Improvement Program, UIP, and District Hospital Directed Payment Program, DHCP. We went ahead and sent out those 2 IGT payments, and you can see we're projecting that we'll receive those funds back in April, so everything's on track there. Even after doing the IGT, we're reflecting about 119 days cash on hand. And that's after those 2 intergovernmental transfers that I just referenced. And then you can see along the bottom that we're gonna stay above 100, get up to 130, and we're projecting to end the fiscal year at 130 days cash on hand. And I think that's a good place to be. But again, we're balancing, we're running this balance of keeping those cash reserves where they're at there versus making investments in our operations. So that's gonna be the conversation. We'll get started here on as soon as I get February's financials done here in the next couple of weeks. We'll use that to project off and start budget meetings for April, in early April. And to get you guys with that kind of lead time, we should get you guys a pretty good budget this year. And well, at least a thorough one. First might not be exactly what but the opportunity exists. That's what I always talk to Brady and Sean and Judy about, is that we don't lack opportunity here. So it's not like, this is as good as it gets. And I'm not even considering that building over there. I'm saying with the existing, what we have existing today, we still have opportunity. And then we have even greater opportunity when we go over there, but greater financial commitments as well. So that's kind of it. Just comments or thoughts?
No, I just like to
Oh, yeah.
reiterate
Thank
what
you.
you guys are, our team's been really working hard on growing our position and our capabilities, and it's reflecting here, and we're excited to see that. And as Steve said, as we want to continue investing in new programs, we need to be growing our programs so we can afford to pay them, but keep our cash still where it is.
Yeah.
It's a constant push me, pull you
Yeah.
discussion about upfront investment, cash flow, and the ability to deliver the results in a timely fashion that doesn't put us in a bad financial position. And it's a constant point of discussion, constant. So,
Did you have something to add, Rich? Sorry, I thought I heard you.
No, I'm just still coughing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
On prednisone.
don't cough, stop coughing.
Mhm.
Hey,
Can you please cover your mouth? Thank you.
I think we're moving on to the R1.
yeah, there's some things I'll be quick or whatever. And I'm not gonna spend, again, the information for the interim financing at the end, self-explanatory, everything's on track. So there's a question on the page. I did want to just go through a couple things here where, a few things happened in January. Well, or continuation. What you don't see here in this scorecard, this is from R1, obviously. This is what I call the Cerner scorecard, because this is hospital and clinic. This doesn't include long-term care. So the biggest positive we had in the month of January, as far as patient accounts receivable, was long-term care. So it's not reflected here. You said, well, you just told me a great story. Our ARDs went up forward. So the big thing here, we can see it, the AR days are going up. Overall insurance, the insurance greater than 80, greater than 90 days, which we've been having conversations about, was such an immense source of pride back in October when we were at 19 versus a target of 25, has gradually increased into January. We had a little bit of drop in January, but it's led us to take a deep dive into things, and we've discovered a big issue. We've talked about it with you guys previously, that back in, well, it happened July 1, but Medicare finally got around to doing it really in earnest in November. What they did is they started verifying that there were proper assignment of benefits for all hospitals that were billing for physicians. What happens in Seneca, we engage the ER physicians, we engage Dr. Jensen, we engage all of our, it doesn't affect the clinic, the RHC is a different animal. It's what they were looking for is anywhere where we bill for outpatient physician professional fees. So the ER, surgery, I always miss somebody when I go to radiology. And so if we're sending out a pro fee bill, we get paid by Medicare for those professional fees. What Medicare wants to be assured of is that the physician won't turn around and bill for those same services. So there's an actual Form 835 or whatever it is, where the physician specifically assigns their benefits to us. And we've been doing this forever, but when Medicare took a hard look, and the way they took a hard look is they denied everything. And we found that there were some shortcomings there. And when we finally said, okay, this ain't going away, and we have to deal with it. So we jumped on it. Kristen Struvel's here. It was an immense help to patient accounting and revenue cycle, that we've got all the information to send off the the provider credentialing with the payers to our contractor. It'll go out this week, and they will do all of the assignment of benefits. They'll make sure every physician has Part A and Part B credentialing, so they can do outpatient services, they can do inpatient services, everything. So the unfortunate thing is that it's attached to the professional fees are attached to a hospital service. So if they went to the ER, they had an ER, they went to, whatever got stopped. And so these claims have not technically been denied, they've been called what's returned to the provider. And so they're back with us, and when, as you all recall, we went through that issue with the radiology, when we changed radiology providers back in October, that we're having a problem with the pro fees coming over into Cerner and all that, that we ultimately just said, we're just gonna take off the pro fees, we're gonna bill the facility stuff, get paid. And so that's what we're gonna do on Medicare. Our ones worked with us to go back and take every claim that had a pro fee that was caught up in this thing with Medicare, and they took it off, and they are now sending out the bills. So what's happened here is that two things have happened since these claims are back from whenever they are, October, November, and then, you know, continual. This is what has affected our 90 days, because that just continues to grow. One sits there, and then two, they get new friends to come in. And so we're gonna see some big movement here, and we're gonna see payments. So we're gonna see our AR come down, we're gonna see an infusion of cash, and we're gonna see a reduction in our over 90 days.
Wasn't there some modifier issues as well? I forgot the reading the report. There were some building with HCPCS and CPT, some modifier issues
Thought we fixed
that I read.
That you read in there,
Yeah, yeah.
not related to this. Was it tied to this?
I can't remember because I
Yeah.
can't see all the pages, but
Yeah,
I could.
because I don't think there was a modifier associated with this. The only thing we do is when we bill for professional fees and facility, we do put a modifier that designates that we're billing for both. So don't say we're billing for multiple services the same day kind of thing.
Steve, does this apply to like our behavior, our telehealth
No.
provided through the hospital? Our telebehavioral health, it's like,
Sadly enough, I couldn't even tell you if or how that is billed out of the ER, you know?
It's through county,
Okay,
county provides those services offered.
okay, so we don't have to worry about that, he said,
No, we don't, yeah.
So-
Service either.
so we're February, you know, since it's March, and I'm telling you about this. We're not gonna see that movement. Yeah, hopefully March, because it's going out now. Medicare turns around pretty quick if there's not an issue with the claim. I said I'd be brief, right?
How long would it take us to get our credentialing?
That's gonna take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And so what they'll continue to do is we'll continue, we're starting to do taking the pro fees off internally by our staff, and our one will double check and make sure that it doesn't happen. Multiple weeks.
How can we track that? I mean,
We have a write-off code, so we'll,
sounds complicated.
no, it's not, it sounds sad is what it sounds like.
So it was on page 9, so
Okay.
top edits. So, and it listed multiple payers, so that's why I wasn't sure if this included Medicare at all. So it's edit 37723,
Which page was it?
9.
Will you go to page 9, please? Thank you.
While we're going there, while we're going there,
Yeah, 7, yeah, sorry.
I wanna throw some props at
There you
Kristen,
go.
jumped in with Sarah to make this happen, so thank you for getting out of your envelope a little bit and helping out, appreciate that.
Top one there. Yeah, multiple payers.
Right there,
It's
I passed the edit.
if you want.
first line.
I don't know how many dollars are at risk, but, well, it says 440.
Oh, that's
What grabbed my.
and frankly, that's an edit. What that means is that it went into the scrubber, and the scrubber for our billing clearinghouse, and the billing clearinghouse won't release the claim until that edit's cleared. And so all this really affects, I mean, there is some significance here, but what this affects is it affects our clean claim rate. So
Yeah.
when we go to that, hey, even,
We're at 8%.
can you go up one slide, see if it's, no, it's not. So when we send out a claim, if it goes through automatically, it's what we call a clean claim. If it gets caught for some reason, then it's called, not clean, and it affects that number. When we look at our dashboard, our clean claim rate is about 75+%, 75, 77%. So what happens, if there's edits set up in SSI, and we can just bypass the edit. It says if modifier is present, R1 to bypass the edit and validate an SSI. If not present, then delete an SI, cancel inserter, and create a coding work item. And so I don't know, I can find out, but I don't know how many of these root cause analysis bypass it.
Just wondering how long the delay is. I mean, does that obviously
Well,
contribute to the AR?
Yeah, it's kind of part of our discussion, Shelley, is one of the things, let's see. Ethan, if I could go to slide, I think it's slide 15, where you at now, 9? Oh, where that is, you did it, right there with one click. I don't know what slide that is. Okay, so in that slide we just looked at, they said they're gonna do one of two things. One is they're gonna bypass the edit if the modifier or whatever is present. If it's not, they said create a WI, which is called a work item. And so what happens is it then gets assigned to Seneca through this client assist. And so I'm not quite sure where that one would fall under this, and it's obviously the 400,000 that isn't coming over. This is the Medicare credentialing issue we just discussed right up here, 434,000. The other big one we have is returned mail. That's self-pay, so it pays a whole different animal, but it's still an issue because that means that we have a bad demographic on a patient as far as where to send their statement. And it rolls over into Judy's area because if we're getting bad demographic information for patients, and if we ever need to contact them physically, we obviously don't have a good address for them.
And then it goes back to the registration process.
So we call them for return mail?
Yeah, we try everything. So almost certainly if the returned mail, well, not almost certainly, but if we have a bad physical address, we probably have a bad phone number or no phone number or whatever it is. Someone came into the ER and they basically gave us who knows what. But yeah, so the other thing R1's gonna do for us is gonna go through all the return mail. And
Well, I'm just thinking about it though, they come to the ER, I mean, we ask for ID when we register them, right?
It's maybe thing.
we ask,
We ask for a driver's license and they haven't updated it in 18 moves,
or they don't have it. I mean,
or they don't have one.
you come into the ER sometimes, you just,
Well,
you
yeah,
didn't pack your bag before you came in, you just, came in and no wallet, no whatever, and so,
Got it.
Well, bottom line to that, with this 440,000, with those edits, then the next time R1 or it's billed, because of that edit in place, it won't go into
screw
the right.
get kicked out.
it won't go into the scrubber, but we think we'll continually get edits, which drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And the way they count edits sometimes drives me crazy as well. But the legitimate issue there is if the modifier is not present, then it needs to come back to us, someone, to put the modifier on. So this is kind of a shift we're making, is that, if I put this up. Yeah, this is 15. Sorry, just one more quick thing. Ethan, can you go to slide 10 real quick? Okay, so this is our denials. You're used to seeing this. This is the denial category, then the dollar amounts by month. Then over there, the little quick summary of the top denial types, and then top denials by payer. So we go to the next slide. Okay, so now this takes that previous slide and says, okay, here are the top denial reasons. We're gonna start, we had a weekly meeting with R1 and our revenue cycle team, 9:30 this morning we had it. And now they're gonna pull this out. They're gonna pull this slide out and present it every week. And so instead of just, presenting this as part of a monthly slide deck or whatever, that this is gonna be part of a working document for us to go through as a group. And today, they literally went into these accounts and walked through it. And I think it's gonna be really critical because one area where we've struggled a little bit is to have true revenue cycle management as opposed to all the things we've done to try to get the system to do what we want it to do and need to do and all that stuff. And now everyone's gonna be able to see, hey, this is what's really happening. These accounts, when you register it or when we, put this charge on it with it. And so it's gonna give them a great level of understanding. And then also, can you go back to 15 real fast, Stephen? And then for us to work these categories, say, okay, just as we do with the dashboard, why is the 90 days going up or whatever it is, what's in there? And that just kind of led us to finally say, what's that? And just say, okay, it's not going away. It's not fixing itself.
Yeah.
And then we got a little deeper and said, ooh, okay, fortunately, good news is Medicare, 365 days to bill. So,
Mhm.
Anyway, you look at the rest of the stuff, it's, there's not a lot there. The return mail, that's everybody's problem, that's, if your self-pay is already a hard get to collect, and if you got bad demographics, then that's, I think the best thing that comes out of that is not necessarily gonna be the money, but if we find that we have a demographic that needs to be updated or corrected on our patients, I think that provides so greater value than the anything financial we get out of it.
So Steve, I'm sorry, following on that one more time. If we get return mail for someone, do we flag it somehow so that if they come back,
Yeah.
we make sure that they give us proper information? Is there?
Yeah. We've always done that. That's nice feature in the system is the ability to say, hey, and there's a variety of reasons. It couldn't be just return mail. There's other reasons, don't let the kid go with dad or, whatever the reason is, or, things like that. It allows the system to talk to us and help us. So, and I think now it's gonna, obviously there's been some delay or some inability to adequately work that return mail. So we'll probably be seeing more of that come up that.
This is it's a great report.
Isn't it?
Very detailed.
And the other thing is that when we get return mail, if it's a person from Chester, a person from Westwood, we definitely want to be on top of that, definitely someone from Chester, holy cow, are they still in town? So, okay, I think that's really what I wanted to cover on it. Oh, look at you, okay, you're gonna close the door. The one thing I did want to say is two things, is that when we look at our denial rate, you look at the denials we have, our current denial rate is now down to 8%. We have a target of 5. I mean, I don't know when it changed. I used to always think 5 was maybe, but apparently R1's telling us the industry standard is 10 to 12%. Now, disclosure on that is that what's not being included in our denials is the credentialing thing. It's going through the return to provider. So it doesn't reflect as a denial, not the number there, but it's a straightforward fix. I'm not gonna say it's easy, and not it's gonna be, it's quick, but it's straightforward as opposed to other claim issues where you're having things. So I think when we get out of the woods on this, we're gonna have a good denial rate. Our discharge not final build is down again. So, So I just, one day I'll come in here and everything will be positive.
You keep,
I work as here, it is done.
keep dreaming. They're gonna move the goalpost.
So anyway, but, we got eyes on it, so it ain't gonna be, it ain't gonna be bad for long. I don't, this is straightforward, this is the usual, so if you guys have any questions or anything, you can always ask me, or that's it, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Steve.
Any questions? Any other questions for Steve? Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Good work.
Thank you.
Guys.
Okay, so that brings us back to item number 12, our board committees. So we didn't, Rich,
Hello?
I think they hung up on us.
Hello?
We can hear you, Rich. I don't know about everybody else. This is Linda.
Yeah, did something happen, Linda?
It says here that you took over as the host of the meeting.
Oh, in that case, meeting dismissed.
I'm not sure what happened here. Okay, time to go home, Rich.
all right, Rich, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure when we got cut off, but we were just moving on to item number 12, the board committees.
Okay.
And we were
Listen,
discussing.
listen, first of all, let me apologize. I had an eye exam today. My pupils are dilated. I can't read anything on the screen. So,
Oh, no.
you know,
Good to know, Rich. I'll read it then.
Well, if
Okay.
it didn't affect your ears, then we can assign you to every one of the committees, right?
all right.
All right, so, we're talking about the board member assignments to our board committees. So the strategic planning committee, and I want to remind the board too, that, what we do with these committees, we meet in public session agendized, much like our current meeting. And other board members are welcome to attend. Even if they aren't on the committee, they just cannot participate. And then what I will do is for our main regular board meeting agenda following these meetings, I will add an agenda item so that we can all discuss what was, discussed during the committee meetings, just so you guys are aware. That's my plan for how we can make sure everyone's involved in all of this, okay? And
Okay.
so, yeah, with that, I would like to assign myself to the strategic planning committee, but I want to hear from our other board members what committees they are interested in participating with. Also noting that I put in here further on the next page that, the bylaws committee is gonna need to review our standing committee meetings frequency. Because right now in our bylaws, strategic planning is supposed to meet quarterly. Bylaws committee, I think it's either annually or biannually. And then our finance committee meeting in our bylaws says monthly, but we have our treasurer's meeting monthly. I don't think our finance committee really needs necessarily to meet monthly, so whoever does our bylaws review, I would like you to please strongly look at the
Quarterly.
frequency for those
Yeah.
things. So for right now, I've only put on our agenda to talk about a finance committee meeting, one meeting. And I'm actually, Rich, on the agenda, we had May 21st, but I was talking with Steve about that and we've moved that to June 4th, just FYI. We'll send information out for everybody.
Okay,
So with that, I'll stop talking and let the board members say what committees they're interested in belonging to.
I'm interested in the governance committee.
The governance committee. Yeah, so that's the ad hoc, Rich, where I was also talking about establishing an ad hoc governance committee. Since our board doesn't really have a set of board policies, I was hoping to kind of codify some so that we can really ensure that this board operates in the best way moving forward, regardless of who's on the board at any point in time.
That doesn't fall under bylaws.
No, that would be a separate committee. And I've
Explain the
actually,
difference to me there.
so the bylaws, that committee is gonna review our existing bylaws and recommend any changes to what's there.
Existing bylaws.
Existing bylaws, right, the ones that we had reviewed way back, yeah. The governance committee is going to look at, how the board operates, what different types of rules we wanna set around, how things are done. How we go about appointing our executives, things like, to that nature is what I'm thinking. I have asked for a, recommendation or template from BBK that we can maybe start with. And, Noel is gonna refer me to another attorney within there that specializes in that.
It has contingencies, governance in lieu of. So if something happened to your executives or an executive, what role the board now has in operations, that type of thing. So it's in governance in lieu of, governance normal.
Different succession planning.
Yep,
If we can
all that.
modify that as well, so
Yeah.
that way that continues into
Yeah.
the future, that type of thing.
And
And, when I went to this all was already percolating in my brain, but then I went to this conference, and that's kind of where I really sort of solidified. And, a lot of these organizations that were there actually have a governance committee as established in their bylaws as a regular committee of the board.
Standing committee.
Standing committee, yes. So whoever was reviewing bylaws may want to consider whether that's a recommendation as well. So. Okay, so.
I would assume BBK would have some existing information related to bylaws as well. Examples.
Yeah,
There'll
maybe,
be some
yeah,
updates.
I'm sure that would be a good.
Ours hasn't been
Updated
updated.
updates.
I think last time we updated it, I was supervisor
Yeah,
and sat on the committee with you guys.
yeah, I think it was
That was a long time ago.
2017.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so-
Yeah,
I'm sure they could help out with some things that need to be included in the bylaws now.
yeah.
And some things that probably need to be updated because of changes, so.
Hopefully not too much, because we
Yeah.
tried to kind of strip out, there was a lot of actual legal, like the actual law that had been in place that was in the bylaws that we kind of just referred to.
Is that something that BBK could look at with the legislation changed and?
Yeah, we're doing the same thing with medical staff bylaws, for instance, that have to be updated. There's some legal requirements in there that you gotta write.
Do we have a place where all these bylaws exist currently?
No,
Well, we have copies of our bylaws, yeah.
Yeah, there's a place. You have them, right?
I have
In
an
a-
electronic copy, yeah, you should have one. Well, we can get it sent out, if anyone that doesn't have them, yeah.
SharePoint would be a great place that you can,
If we could have access to SharePoint,
be great,
Love
because then you can
SharePoint.
just make changes on the fly. They're registered, they know who made them, when they were made, so.
Get them the Seneca email.
that's the thing, I think we
Yeah.
have to get that.
You have to do a Seneca
set up
email.
first.
So-
But I think that would be a wonderful way
Great
to do
place for it to
because
be, right?
before we had to use Google Docs and it was back.
It
and I don't
keeps
think we
track of
probably
everything.
should. So, okay, so far I have Sherry interested in the governance committee. Other board members, what committees would you guys be interested in?
I could do governance with Sherry.
Okay.
Or can we-
Strategic planning,
Dipped in there a little bit, but I don't, I wanna do it alone.
What was that, Rich?
strategic planning?
Strategic planning, all right. And finance, I'm assuming?
Yes. Well, I think the treasurer should always be on finance.
I agree. And just making sure you agree.
And if you have a vacancy, strategic plan, interests me also,
I think that
but you
one,
may be filled in.
yeah, currently I think that's me and Rich, but come to the meetings and
Gonna
then
be
we'll
very-
all talk about them.
Very interesting.
Yeah, there's
Meetings
gonna
over
be a
the
lot
next couple
moving on.
years.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So I still need one more for finance and one more for bylaws, and I'm happy to serve on another of those as well, but if anyone has a preference of anything else they want to add. Nobody?
I'm sorry, maybe I missed the question.
Oh, I'm just seeing if anyone else is interested in serving on a second committee, either finance or bylaws.
Okay.
Bylaws. Maybe bylaws.
Mhm.
Then I can assign myself to the finance committee also then. Perfect. So for strategic planning, me and Rich, and same for finance, bylaws, Ken and Sherry, and governance, I'm sorry, bylaws,
Ken and Shelley.
Shelley, I'm sorry. I wrote it wrong. And then, governance, Sherry and Shelley. Perfect. And then the dates that I have on here with the adjustment of the finance to be June 4th. I'm throwing that out there. If you guys can just talk to the other committee member and just make sure that date works. And if not, let me know which date is the alternative. Because right now, with the exception of June 4th, Deborah had made sure this room is available at 2 p.m. on each of these dates. So, if it needs to change, then you need to talk with her, to make sure that you don't have to meet here. But it's kind of easier, I think, since we have everything set up for it.
Yeah,
So that's my suggestion. And then next month, we'll come back and just verify those dates are gonna be the actual dates, okay? Any other questions or comments on this one? Okay. So then with that, that brings us to item number 13, the AHA Rural Health Leadership Conference that I went to in San Antonio. And there was a lot, and a lot of it will come up through the strategic planning discussions. I sat with Sean for like, what, 2-3 hours? Going through everything, because there were a lot of very interesting things coming up. Stuff around 340B, just a lot, and so it's gonna be gradually. I have already pushed a few things to staff saying, hey, check this out, hey, check that out, but I don't really want to verbalize unless it actually is something that should be a thing until it's a thing, if that makes sense. And so, but it was very informative and it was eye-opening to me, the size of some of the organizations that call themselves rural. I had no idea. Or the organizations that, serve rural communities, that one made more sense to me, but some of these organizations that actually call themselves rural were at least 10 times bigger than us, at least. And it was wild, but anyway, learned a lot of really good, interesting things, met some interesting people, met the folks out of Mayor's too, actually, that was nice. At some point they might come tour us, I invited them to tour and said we'd give them lunch and everything, so hopefully they'll schedule it. Yeah, that's all I have on that one.
Glad you
anything-
went. It's good.
So item number 14, policies and procedures. Requesting board approval presented by Charlene. Anybody have any questions, comments on policies and procedures?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Shelley?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
Ken?
Right,
I will vote aye. So that
And I'll
brings-
vote aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brett. Very sorry. Thank you. And that brings us to item number 15, the medical staff report. Requesting board approval, Dr. Dana Ware, chief of staff, submitted the medical staff appointments as approved at the February 10th, 2026 med exec staff meeting. Do I have any questions, comments?
I know she's working and helping out and walking. Is she still one of our employed positions?
She,
Or in charge of
I
staff.
thought she retired.
no, she retired from
Retired
her
from her practice.
Oh,
practice. She
okay.
She gracefully gave us a little bit of time
Oh, okay.
doing the walk-in,
Okay,
and on certain committees.
okay,
As we're recruiting for her
Okay.
position.
okay.
And clearly there's been a lot of work being done here too. All right, so do I have a motion to approve as presented?
I move for approval.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Ken?
aye,
Rich?
Aye.
Shelley?
Aye.
Sherry?
Aye.
And I will vote aye.
Great.
And that brings us to our closed session, government code 3762433, code 1461, and code 32155 hearings. Public legal counsel, government code 54956.9. Trade secrets, health and safety code 32106. Litigation pending existing, Conference Legal Counsel existing pursuant to 54956.9 D1 and public employee appointment. Government Code 54957 B1. And. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong page.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm looking at the wrong page.
Oh.
Oh, there it is. Labor negotiations pursuant to government code 54957.6. And with that, we are adjourned to close session.
Brady, is Brady still there?
Hold on a second, we're still recording.
I got
Okay.
it. Stopped it.
Sharing options that go to more. Make sure you're not recording.
Don't get rid of Rich.
I'm just go over here to more.
Go to more.
All right.
You wanna do this?
Just go to more, see where it says pause or stop recording.
Yeah, and I already stopped it, but we got to get Rich.
Rich, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay,
Doesn't it usually
So go to
say
Michelle
when it's paused?
and just,
I thought it
Go
did.
where?
so just,
Doesn't-
that's fine, we're paused.
Now it
So
says
she
you-
can't hear anything, so.
Everybody's paused, right?
Why is it saying you are screen sharing, okay.
Do I get her off here?
Let's kick her off.
Or just put her into the waiting room.
She can't.
Put her in waiting room right there. Put in waiting room. Boom. There you go.
Are you sure she can hear you?
And that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
good grief.
Good.
I need to take a little class.
I swear
Thank
it usually
you.
says it stopped recording when it stops recording.
Okay, Brady,
Yes, sir.
I know you sent me an email this morning. I kind of responded. I actually, probably due to my eyesight, I didn't know the meeting was today. I thought it was tomorrow. But I did have an eye appointment. You asked, what is your goal at HIMSS?
Well, if you were going to be there, then Ethan and I would just, like to get your thoughts on the industry and
Oh,
All right, our closed session is closed and we are now back in the open session. There were no reportable actions taken during closed session. Future board meeting agenda topics, we have our board planning session, we still need to figure that out. Our board training, this will come off of here because I'm gonna ask this be included in the governance committee items. Our next regular board meeting is going to be on Thursday, March 26th, 2026 at 2 p.m. here in the conference room. Meeting is adjourned.
yippee.
Until next
Down at the very bottom, go end.
She
Yes.
just said yes.